In my humble opinion, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is getting a little unfun. Don't get me wrong, it's really cool to see so many powerful Yu-Gi-Oh decks like being able to be played, but to be honest, it's not as fun as one would hope it would be. My biggest problem right now, or one of the biggest problems, is still price. Like, everything is ridiculously expensive. In order to compete in Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to get SP Little Knight, which right now is $80, and this is a must-play Yu-Gi-Oh card. There were times where you could have got away with not playing some of those powerful spell cards, but SP Little Knight feels like the best generic monster in the entire game, and it's mandatory that you have it. It was really crazy because me and TJ were going to sneak, and we knew in the middle of our mind, no matter what cards we got, we needed SP Little Knights. We wound up getting them, but for anybody else that didn't have them, it's a clear unfair advantage. That card is dumb broken for no reason. Agreed, like the card seems fair at first, and then you start to realize like all these top Yu-Gi-Oh decks that can summon it on your turn, which means that it doesn't even have a restriction at that point and get rid of your cards. 2 of them, it becomes a little ridiculous. I couldn't imagine playing through Necros and Dragon Rulers, how expensive the decks have evolved. So yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh has gotten cheaper from before than now. I remember back in the days, like a Dragon Ruler deck, big guys are like $150 each, Draco Sacks for $150 each, and you pretty much needed almost 3 of each, and your deck was really expensive. You can get a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh deck for about $500, which I will attest, that is cheaper, but it's still ridiculously overpriced. Bro, I make less than that in a month. I agree. I heard some tier 0 decks back then were over $2,000. That's slightly exaggeration, but I think it's here nor there. If a particular strategy is ridiculously expensive, if your particular Yu-Gi-Oh deck that you have to pay for costs more than your car note, then we have a genuine problem, because cars are expensive nowadays too. Damn. I had 2 guys at locals buy a case and get 2 SP Little Knight. That's crazy that you gotta leave it up to buying a whole Yu-Gi-Oh case and you barely make it. Now Konami makes us wait for reprints that are actually rarity upgrades and more expensive. But I can't really say that it's 100% on Konami. I actually really do like what they're doing with the new sets. Every holo card that is ultra rare and above also gets a Starlight rarity version as well. I really hope they keep that up because it has made a lot of cards that were sought after way cheaper than they should be. But then you print cards like SP Little Knight and it is a ridiculously expensive card no matter what. Konami just prints cards. It's the secondary market that puts values onto cards. No, you're correct, Geyser. We do put a value on these secondary cards as a collective total. But when Konami knows that a particular card is really, really powerful and is actually format warping, they print it in secret rare. That does not help their case. Hypothetically, if SP Little Knight was a super rare Yu-Gi-Oh card, do you think it would be $80 a pop? I mean, even if it was an ultra rare Yu-Gi-Oh card and still had that collector's Starlight quarter century rare, whatever the thing they want to call it, it still wouldn't be this ridiculously expensive. Should have been a common? I actually wholeheartedly advocate anytime Konami makes a card that everyone must play, it needs to be something extremely accessible for the Yu-Gi-Oh community, which each card comes in multi-rarity like we get in the rarity collection. This game makes this game so much better. Holy, I don't even want to talk about the rarity collection. Konami's attempts to reprint Yu-Gi-Oh cards is complete trash. Let's just be real. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but by the time that we actually get good reprints for certain cards, they're not even usable anymore. I mean, a lot of times they might be kind of good, but then other times they're like, they're okay. They aren't as format warping as they once were when they were expensive. And by the time those cards come out, it's a new ultra super hard to get expensive Yu-Gi-Oh card that you gotta get now too. Like Triple Tactics Talent. Card was dumb expensive, got reprinted, and then we got thrusted. Quite literally. I feel like they used the popularity from the OCG to bump prices up on purpose, so I don't know what the...
Exactly! That's exactly what they do! That is exactly what they do, and I have proof.
As a Yu-Gi-Oh boomer that's been playing since the beginning of time, I have absolute proof that Konami knows exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it on purpose, and it's complete bullshit. Dark Arm Dragon was a rare when it first came out in the OCG. Secret rare in the TCG. Come on now, you can't even... Bro. You need more examples? Spellbook Judgment was a common in the OCG. Comes out in the TCG, secret rare. Huh? Seriously, come on, like, do we really need, like, they've done this time after time after time again. At this point in time, it's just abuse. We play in 2 rat races, affording the new expensive card while pulling up on staple reprints when we couldn't grab them in the beginning. That is exactly what we're talking about. And it gets even worse. Hypothetically, I'll level with Konami. If there was maybe one card that was really, really mandatory for everybody to play, and per set, I would be okay with that. Hypothetically, if SP Little Knight was the only hard to get card inside of the set, and it was fairly done without Konami messing with the ratios where you only get 2 per case. But that brings me to the next problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! And why I'm not really having fun right now. The Diablo Star and the Horus Engine are crazy cool. SP Little Knight is crazy cool. The Triple Tactics cards are cool. But is it just me? Or does it seem like everybody's playing the exact same cards even though they're playing different decks? I don't know, maybe it's the casual that's been brought out in me, but every time I looked at the live stream, it was so predictable what everybody was playing. Oh, yeah, you're playing Rescue Ace. Oh, cool, you know, oh, so original. You're playing the Diablo Star cards. All right. Oh, you have Ash Blossom? You have Droll? Yeah. It seems like Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten stagnant, and it doesn't feel right when everyone's playing the exact same cards with different colors. I'm telling you guys, looking at Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, you can classify decks in multiple different categories. You have the combo decks that summon the exact same monsters at the end. You have the trap decks that play the exact same traps. And you got the graveyard decks that literally summon the exact same monsters. It's ridiculous. I'm telling you guys, Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now may seem diverse, but it's literally just the same deck with different expressions. You mean you didn't enjoy GOAT format? The extra deck is just generic monsters. Yes, 100% every single time. The funny thing about that particular situation is that when I thought I saw something unique, we didn't. I literally saw somebody summon a Chaos Angel, something I didn't see all day. And then 5 seconds later, the opponent summoned a Chaos Angel, and it was just like, all right. They were playing 2 different decks, but with the exact same cards. It was stupid. I'm not saying that decks can't play some of the same cards, but I'm saying when every single strategy leads up to the exact same cards, it gets boring, and SP Little Knight is literally the exact same card that all decks end on. I think part of the problem is that boss monsters are too generic versus being archetype specific. Yes, oh my God. Bro, hypothetically, if Baron de Fleur was archetype specific, if Borreload Savage Dragon was archetype specific, if SP Little Knight wasn't so damn generic, Yu-Gi-Oh! Might be a little bit different. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be decks that can't overlap and some cool cards that can be played with one another, but Konami is really, really liberal when it comes to just letting you play anything with anything, and I'm trying to be a little racist right here. Chat, we need to separate the cards again. Make Yu-Gi-Oh! Great again. To be fair, Konami does give us countless of options to play as an extra deck. We just keep on playing the best, so that's all we see is the same card. Then they're not really giving you options. It's an illusion, isn't it? Archetype specific cards should be stronger than generic cards 100% of the time. I do find it a little perplexing that cards like Baron de Fleur are stronger than cards that like, well, I can't think of any other specific cards because there pretty much aren't any. Bro, you like my gun, by the way? That's the same one that took Squamata out. How he doing? Squamata's doing. I think that leads me to my third and most problematic problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! I hate to say it because people consider me as a fairly competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Player, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Has gotten way too complex. Chat, even in Master Duel, how many times have we sat down and saw an opponent start playing cards and we were just like, all right. It happens like that in regular Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are just playing cards and you're just sitting there looking at them. Chat, if I really wanted to watch somebody play with themselves for 15 minutes, there are a ton of sites that I can do that. And in Yu-Gi-Oh! It seems like I have to pay money to go to an event to watch somebody do that. Hey, that's hustling backwards. Even if I wanted to play with myself in hold on, wait, time out. I mean, you can play Gladiator Beast or Kashtira. In both cases, you can have fun. My guy, how are you having fun losing? I think at the very end of it, nobody likes to lose. I don't think anybody has fun losing. No matter how you say it, competitive or not, nobody has fun getting curb stomped, which means that they have to invest into some of the most expensive cards. And if they don't have money, they can't do it, which means they keep getting curb stomped. And even when they do invest into some of the most expensive cards, they're playing the same things over and over again. And Yu-Gi-Oh players keep playing with themselves over and over again. At this point in time, hand traps are like a joke, but I do have another secret problem. This is a problem I don't think anybody has noticed in Yu-Gi-Oh, and I think is really, really important and you need to know about. Have you guys noticed that Yu-Gi-Oh isn't about playing Yu-Gi-Oh anymore? It's about just playing the most unfair to stop your opponent from doing what they want to do. Now, I know the Yu-Gi-Oh ban list is built to be able to stop those particular cards, but I think at this point in time, Konami has made way too many toxic Yu-Gi-Oh cards that just happen. I mean, think about it. We got like 21 years of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Because of a new card, Branded Chimera can use Disturbance Strategy with Protector of the Sanctuary to hand loop you. It's ridiculous. And it doesn't matter how good or bad that particular combo is. The fact that it exists is stupid. Let's not forget about cards like Rivalry of the Warlords, Goes in Match, There Can Be Only One. Cards that just aren't fun to play against. There's tons of them, and almost every Yu-Gi-Oh deck has something like that. There's hand loops, Calamity Locks, Unbreakable Yu-Gi-Oh boards. Yu-Gi-Oh's definitely fun to play, right? Right? Now, as you guys know, every single time I don't come with problems unless I have solutions. 100% thinking that I'm parroting at myself when I talk about the first solution. I know I sound like a broken record when I say Konami reprint Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So we're just gonna skip over that part. Konami, reprint Yu-Gi-Oh cards on time. It's kind of crazy how Baron de Fleur is only at 2 prints, still is a $50 card because of how you handled the reprints, and now, years later, is finally getting an accessible reprint. It's gonna happen to other cards like Triple Tactics Talent and Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring too, but now we have to deal with Triple Tactics Thrust and SP Little Knight and all those other crazy things. The cards need to be accessible to every Yu-Gi-Oh player in the beginning. The next solution to the next problem. Konami, seriously, what are we doing? Yu-Gi-Oh cards need to be a lot more restrictive and do less things. I remember I was talking to a friend that hasn't played Yu-Gi-Oh in so long, and I was explaining to him the effects of a card. It tributed their monsters and it gained attack. He was already intrigued. He said it was great. Then I said it can do other things like special summon an opponent's monsters to the side of the field. And he was like, yo, wait, well, hold on, time out. Well, that's too much. Bro, the card was Divine Current and Kirakara. It's not even considered great right now. But the fact that it has like 3 lines of text and it's not even the most descriptive card is crazy. The power creep in Yu-Gi-Oh has actually made Yu-Gi-Oh bad because there are so many words inside of Yu-Gi-Oh cards and ain't nobody got time for that. Simplify the words, Konami. Seriously, simplify the word. I'm not gonna say that engines shouldn't exist in Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think Konami should be a lot more restrictive with these engine cards. It's almost ridiculous how we get 2 playable engines in Horus as well as Diabellstar that almost have no restrictions whatsoever. They're kind of stupid. It doesn't necessarily matter how competitive those cards are. The fact that they will eventually be something that'll be ridiculous is crazy. You set yourself up. More restrictions need to happen. And the third thing, to make Yu-Gi-Oh fun again, I think it's pretty obvious. Get rid of unfair Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Come on, Konami, fix your game. But maybe it doesn't make Konami enough money. Maybe we just need to stop going to Yu-Gi-Oh events and hit them where it matters the most. Until then, I don't think Konami is going to fix any of these. I really hope they listen to this video, and I really am not advocating for people not to going to events. But it feels really bad for me to want to go to an event and watch somebody play with themselves, or I get to play with myself. I can stay home and I got a whole bunch of options on the internet for that. And I could even start my own OnlyFans. I'll be playing Yu-Gi-Oh on there. It'll be labeled Playing with Myself. It's the same thing.